Welcome to HFY, Kids, where stars remember. Hearts of humans and stars of aliens beat together. And every story is born where the universe learns to dream. The city lights were dim, and rain fell in thin lines over the metal streets. Jace pulled his hoodie tighter and walked fast, wanting to get home before the street gangs came out. The night air smelled like oil and smoke, and the alleyways were filled with shadows. He passed an old trash bin when he heard a soft cry like a whisper mixed with fear. He stopped, turned slowly, and saw her, a girl about his age, crouched near a broken wall. Shivering and soaked, her cloak was torn, and her feet were bare, but what caught his eye were her glowing blue eyes. They were wide with terror, and her lips trembled as she spoke. "Please. Hide me, please. My father, he's coming." Jace didn't move. He wasn't sure what to say. She looked human, but something was off. Her skin had a faint blue tint. Her hair shimmered like silver threads, wet and stuck to her face. "Who are you?" he asked, barely above a whisper. "No time," she said, grabbing his arm. "He'll find me. You don't understand. If he sees you helping me, you'll be dead too." Jace heard a strange hum in the distance, like something mechanical scanning the air. A red light passed over the alley. Entrance search drones. Jace didn't think. He acted. "This way," he said, pulling her by the hand. He ran across the alley and opened a rusty door behind a closed repair shop. They rushed down the old stairs into a forgotten basement. It was cold and dark, with only one broken light buzzing above. As the door closed behind them, the girl dropped her small black bag. It hit the ground with a soft clink like metal hitting metal. Jace locked the door and turned to her. "What's in the bag?" She hesitated, eyes still filled with fear. "Nothing, just things," she whispered, stepping back. He walked over and picked it up gently. It felt too heavy for just clothes. Before she could stop him, something slid out onto the floor. It was a silver object, glowing faintly, a crown, broken in half. Jace's breath caught in his throat. "What is this?" She didn't answer. Instead, she sank to the floor and covered her face with her hands. "My father. He's not just my father. He's a ruler. A destroyer. If he finds me with that, he'll erase this whole sector." Jace stared at the glowing piece of metal. It didn't look like any tech he'd seen before. It had strange symbols on the side and a core pulsing like a slow heartbeat. He realized then this girl wasn't just running. She was hiding from something big, something powerful. Suddenly, the red light scanned the building from outside. A loud metal footstep echoed above them, followed by another. The girl grabbed Jace's hand, her voice low but shaking. "He's here. Please don't let him find me." Jace looked at the locked door, at the bag, and then at her. Something deep inside told him this night had just changed his life forever. He took a deep breath and whispered, "Then we stay quiet, and we don't let him in." But outside, the footsteps stopped right at the door. Jace didn't move. His eyes stayed on the door as heavy boots thudded above. The girl, still holding his hand, tried to steady her breathing. For a moment, the only sound was the buzz of the dying light. Then silence. No knock, no voice, just a long pause. And then the footsteps moved away, slowly, step by step, until they were gone. Jace waited a few more seconds before turning to the girl. "Okay, what's really going on?" he asked. The girl let out a shaky breath and slid to the floor. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "My name is Lyra. I wasn't supposed to leave the ship, but I did. I had to." Jace sat across from her, the glowing object still on the floor between them. It wasn't just a crown. It looked like a mix of weapon and memory drive. "Your father. He's chasing you over this?" Jace asked, pointing. Lyra nodded. "That. And this." She opened her bag and carefully pulled out a black crystal cube. Inside the cube, strange lights moved like liquid stars. "This," she said softly, is a command core fragment. It holds codes powerful enough to shut down an entire battle fleet. Jace blinked. Wait. Like Earth's fleet? Lyra looked at him, her eyes full of sadness. No. Like my father's fleet. The Talarith Sky Armada. Jace swallowed hard. He had heard of the Talarith Empire. Everyone had. A conquering alien force known for turning entire planets into fuel. What's it doing here? Why bring it to Earth? I stole it, she said, lowering her voice. He's planning something bad. Earth is next. I couldn't let it happen. Jace stared at the crystal. His fingers tingled just looking at it. You came here to stop him? Lyra nodded. I needed help. I thought, maybe humans would protect me. Or at least believe me. Jace chuckled dryly. You found me instead. A nobody with a basement. Lyra gave a weak smile. You're the only one who didn't hand me over. Suddenly, the crystal blinked. A tiny hologram appeared, lines of alien code spinning in the air. Then a voice spoke in a deep, robotic tone. Warning, fragment stability failing. New host required. The light blinked red, then faded. Jace looked at Lyra. What does that mean? She looked scared again. It means, if we don't find a safe place for it, it could melt down. Or worse, transmit its location. Jace jumped up, pacing. Can we turn it off? Bury it? Throw it in the river? Lyra shook her head. It's linked to me. My blood activated it. Now it follows me. And only I can shut it down. Before Jace could reply, there was a sudden static buzz from above. The basement radio, long dead, turned on by itself. A deep alien voice crackled through. Return the core. Return the princess. Or this district will burn. Jace and Lyra froze. The voice repeated once. Then cut off. Jace slowly turned to her. Princess? Lyra didn't speak, but her silence said everything. She wasn't just the daughter of an alien leader. She was royalty. And now, the war had found its way to Earth. Jace didn't know how fast he could move until that moment. The radio had gone silent, but the air was thick with fear. He grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her toward the basement exit. We can't stay here, he said. They know where you are now. Lyra didn't argue, she just followed, holding the glowing black cube tight to her chest upstairs. The repair shop windows were broken glass on the floor. The red scanning lights moved across the walls like eyes searching for prey. They ran past the back door into a side alley. Behind them, a sharp whirring noise followed drones. 3 small silver drones hovered in the air. Scanning for life signs, Jace turned left, then right, leading them into a maze of old alleys in the lower wards. The lower wards were the forgotten part of the city, dark, broken, and always wet. Old buildings leaned against each other like tired giants. It smelled like metal and mold, but Jace knew the shortcuts. They're gaining on us. Lyra cried, looking over her shoulder. Hold on, Jace said, then pushed a trash bin aside and kicked open a vent. In here. They crawled into the narrow metal duct, just as a drone passed overhead. Inside, it was hot and tight. Every clang of their movement echoed down the pipe. Lyra's breath was quick, scared. Jace glanced at the cube. Its glow had turned from blue to yellow. What does that mean? He asked, pointing. Lyra wiped sweat from her brow. It's close to a signal burst, a last alert. Alert to who? My father, she said softly. Or his ship. They crawled out into a supply room near the old underground market. Dim lights flickered overhead, and vending bots stood dead in place. Jace checked outside clear, but as they stepped out, a man in a long brown coat blocked their way. He wore goggles and a hood. But Jace saw the glint of a stun rifle in his hand. Didn't think I'd see a princess running through my territory, the man growled. Lyra froze. You know who I am? He nodded. Word spreads fast when a bounty that big hits the net. Half the underworld is looking for you. Jace stepped in front of Lyra. We don't want trouble. The man smirked. You already brought it, kid. Suddenly, the sound of glass shattering came from behind. A second figure dropped from a roof and raised a weapon. But before they could fire, a blast of smoke exploded from the shadows. Kids wearing ragged cloaks and metal masks rushed in, throwing flash pellets and banging pipes. "Jace, move!" One of them yelled. Jace recognized the voice. It was Zeke, a street kid he had helped months ago with food without wasting time. Jace grabbed Lyra's arm again and ran with her through the chaos. Zeke and his crew covered their escape, throwing sparks and mirrors to fool the drones. They ducked into a hidden stairwell that led down to a forgotten subway tunnel. Lyra collapsed to her knees, panting. Her hands were glowing faintly again, and the cube pulsed harder. "It's reacting to your body," Jace said, eyes wide. Lyra shook her head. "No, it's not reacting. It's merging. What happens when it finishes?" Lyra looked up at him. "Then I won't be me anymore." The tunnel was cold and damp. Pipes dripped from the ceiling, and old train rails rusted in the dark. Jace helped Lyra sit down on a piece of broken metal. Her face was pale, and the glowing cube in her hands was now humming softly. Her fingers shook, and lines of blue light ran under her skin like living wires. "It's bonding to me," she whispered. Jace knelt in front of her. "Can we stop it?" Lyra bit her lip and looked away. "Maybe, but we need something to reset the connection." "What kind of something?" "A biotech stabilizer. A very old one. And only one person I know might have it." Jace raised a brow. "Who?" "Someone called Leah," Lyra said, her voice weak but certain. "She's a healer. A hybrid tech builder. My brother used to fear her." "She was exiled from the upper worlds," Jace nodded. "Quickly, where is she?" "District 12, near the crushed towers," without wasting time. Jace helped her to her feet. They followed the dark tracks for nearly half an hour. Each time Lyra stumbled, Jace caught her arm. The blue glow inside her veins was getting brighter. Sometimes her body flickered, as if parts of her were phasing in and out. She was becoming something else when they reached District 12. The wind hit them like ice. Tall buildings leaned in like skeletons, their windows shattered. They knocked on a rusted steel door with the symbol of a burning feather. It slid open slowly, revealing a woman in goggles and gloves. She looked human, but her arms were covered in small mechanical plates. Her eyes scanned Lyra, then narrowed. "You brought her here?" She asked Jace. "Are you Leah?" "I am," the woman replied, "and I told her family I'd never help again." "She's dying," Jace said firmly. "And she's not her family." Leah stared for a long moment, then stepped aside. "Bring her in." The room was filled with old tech screens, wires, and glowing tubes. Leah placed Lyra on a floating chair and ran scanners over her body. She frowned as data filled her screens. "This is worse than I thought," she muttered. "The cube is rewriting her DNA. It's not just linking, it's reprogramming her bloodline. Is that bad?" Jace asked, heart pounding. "It means," Leah said, "that this girl is no longer just Talarith Royal. She's becoming the core itself. If it finishes, she'll become a living command unit, half girl, half weapon." Lyra opened her eyes slowly. "I didn't want this." Leah knelt beside her, softer now. "I know, child. Your mother warned me this day might come." "My mother?" Lyra blinked, surprised. "Yes," Leah nodded. "She left something for you. A failsafe. But to use it, someone pure must activate it. Not Royal. Not Talarith." Both Leah and Lyra turned to look at Jace. He stepped back, confused. "Me?" "You're human," Leah said, "untouched by their systems. You're the only one who can plug into the stabilizer without it rejecting you. But what if it goes wrong?" Jace asked. "Then," Leah said, "you both die." Jace looked at Lyra, her hand glowing, her breath short, her eyes begging him. He stepped forward, placing his hand on the cube. "Tell me what to do." he said, voice steady. Leah pulled out a glowing cable and plugged it into the stabilizer core. The room began to shake as the cube linked with Jace's heartbeat, and in that moment, everything went white. The light faded slowly. Jace opened his eyes and gasped. He wasn't in the lab anymore, at least not in the normal way. He stood in a glowing space with floating symbols and a blue sky that wasn't real. Across from him floated Lyra, her eyes shut, her body shining like a star. "Where are we?" Jace whispered. Leah's voice echoed through the air, though she wasn't visible. "You're inside the interface. It's where the cube meets the mind. You must help her finish the merge or stop it." "How?" Jace asked. "Speak to her. Remind her who she is, or the system will rewrite her into a weapon." Jace stepped closer to Lyra. "Lyra, wake up, you're not just code." Her body flickered, glitching like a broken screen. Then her eyes opened, and they were all white. "I am Directive 47, a robotic voice said through her lips. "Planetary erasure protocol initializing." "No, no," Jace yelled. "You're not some command tool. You're Lyra. You helped me. You ran away to protect Earth." Something inside her hesitated, her lips trembled, and the glow around her dimmed slightly. Then a blast of red energy ripped through the space. Jace was thrown back, the sky cracked like glass, and a tall figure appeared, Lord Vector. He floated forward, armored in black steel, with fire in his eyes. "My daughter," he said. "You were never meant to think for yourself. Get away from her." Jace shouted, standing up, but Vector pointed one hand at him and froze his body mid-air. "You, human, are an insect," the alien king growled. "To touch royal technology is death." Suddenly, the cube flashed. Lyra's voice returned shaky. "But hers, Father. I chose this. I chose to stop you." "You are broken," Vector snarled. "You were made to obey." But Lyra raised her hand, and the red energy shattered. The illusion broke. Jace gasped as he woke up back in Leah's lab. His chest hurt, and his hands smoked from the energy surge. Lyra was sitting up, breathing fast, the cube floating in the air beside her. Leah rushed over, scanning both of them. "You did it," she said, eyes wide. "You stabilized the merge." She's not becoming a weapon anymore, but the moment didn't last. The ground shook, lights flickered, and a shadow fell over the lab. Leah ran to the screen and gasped. "The Talarith High ship. It's entered the atmosphere." Jace and Lyra looked out the lab window. The clouds above the city cracked apart as a massive ship, black, spiked, and silent, descended. All power in the city went dark. Then a voice thundered across the sky, broadcast in every language. "Return the traitor. Return the core, or this planet will burn." Leah turned to them, her face pale. "You don't have time." Lyra stood tall, her voice calm. "I know. I have to face him. But not as his daughter. As something more." Jace clenched his fists. "We'll go with you," he said. "You're not alone." Above them, Vector's ship opened its weapon ports. The countdown to war had begun, but this time, the girl he was hunting wasn't running. She was ready to fight Asterisk. The streets of the city were silent. People had gone into hiding, and the skies above were filled with shadows. Vector's ship hovered like a dead moon, wide enough to block the stars. Jace, Lyra, and Leah stood in the broken rooftop of the lab, staring upward. But Lyra's eyes weren't focused on the ship. She was hearing voices. Whispers in a strange language filled her mind, echoes from a time before her birth. She fell to her knees as the cube pulsed in the air. It released a stream of golden light, wrapping around her like threads. Her body floated slightly off the ground, arms stretched wide. "Lyra!" Jace shouted, rushing to her, but Leah stopped him. "No! This is a memory echo." "What does that mean?" "The cube isn't just data," Leah said. eyes wide. It holds the minds of past rulers, queens, commanders, guardians. It's showing her their memories. It's offering her a choice. Inside Lyra's mind, she stood in a room made of light. Ancient Talrith queens stood around her, some wise, some cruel, all-powerful. One stepped forward, her face like Lyra's but older. "You are the first to reject the crown," she said. "You ran. You disobeyed. Why?" Lyra looked down at her hands. "Because I didn't want to become a weapon." "Then what do you wish to become?" "I want to protect. Not rule. Not destroy. Just protect." The queens looked at one another silent. Then one nodded slowly. "Then take what we were and remake it. Let the core serve something new." Back on the rooftop, Lyra gasped and opened her eyes. The golden light shot upward like a beam piercing the clouds. The Talrith ship paused, as if scanning the signal. Then a loud rumble shook the air. "Jace," Lyra said quietly, "I saw everything. The history, the wars, the pain. What do we do?" He asked. She looked up, her skin now marked with silver veins of light. "I have the codes. The ship will respond to my voice, but I have to get closer." Leah opened a storage crate and pulled out a sky glider. It was old, rusty, but it still worked. "This'll take you close," she said. "But not through their shield. Leave that to me," Lyra said, climbing onto the glider. Jace jumped on behind her without hesitation. The glider soared into the sky, engines screaming. The ship above them began to move, turrets turning. Scanners locking on, a beam fired, barely missing them. Lyra shouted something in Talrith tongue, and the cube in her hand responded. A shockwave of blue energy spread out, tearing a hole in the shield. They burst through, heading for the main deck. Jace held on tight as alarms screamed from the ship. Below them, Talrith soldiers raised weapons. But Lyra dropped the cube. It floated down slowly, and with it, her voice echoed. "I am Lyra of the core. Cease fire. Stand down." Every weapon froze in place. Soldiers paused mid-step, their helmets blinking red. The ship groaned as systems shut down one by one. Engines dimmed, and the lights across the sky began to fade. Jace looked at her in awe. "You stopped the entire army." "No," she said softly. "They listened. For the first time they listened to peace." But deep inside the ship, someone else had not listened. A door opened with a hiss, and Lord Vector himself stepped out, armor glowing, eyes burning. He had come to face his daughter, and this time, he brought a final weapon. The glider landed hard on the ship's metal deck. Smoke curled from its sides as Jace and Lyra jumped off. They stood face to face with the one they feared most, Lord Vector. His armor was dark as night, his cloak moved like it was alive. Behind him, the soldiers stood frozen, still under Lyra's command signal. Vector stepped forward, his voice cold as ice. "Do you think they follow you because of strength? No, they follow you because they are confused." Lyra didn't blink. "No. They follow me because I gave them a choice." He raised a hand, and the cube that had once floated beside her cracked slightly in the air. "Then I take that choice away," he growled. The sky darkened again as a part of the ship transformed. Blades folded out, glowing with red energy, and formed a weapon taller than any tower, the Skyblade. "A cannon that could pierce planets," Jace whispered. "That thing. It's real?" Lyra nodded. "It was only a story when I was a child. A story about ending worlds with one command. Is he going to use it on Earth?" Lyra didn't answer, but her silence was loud. Vector raised both arms, speaking in ancient Talrith. The weapon began to charge red rings,